I'd originally recorded something else for 4 p.m., but we're getting breaking news that a bomb threat has been called in to a New York court where a Trump hearing is held. And I don't believe this is related to the potential indictment or arrest. Nonetheless, things are getting particularly spicy in this country, and we need to get this one up. So I'll be moving the other 4 p.m. segment to Friday. It's a cultural segment anyway. This is much, much more important. Bloomberg reports a bomb threat was called in just as a judge in a lower Manhattan was about to start a hearing over a $250 million lawsuit by New York Attorney General Letitia James against Donald Trump. Tuesday's 911 call was investigated. The courthouse at 60 Center Street temporarily closed and searched, and the threat demand unfounded, state court spokesman Lucien Chalfin said. The building, featured in the opening footage of Law and Order, is where state civil cases are heard. Letitia James sued Trump, his company, and 3 of his children in September for allegedly inflating the value of his real estate company assets. Now, this is not about Trump being arrested, but it's still about the insane attacks from the legal system in the state of New York against Donald Trump. This is serious stuff. I think this is an indication, the bomb threat, that, y'all don't got to believe in civil war. You can believe whatever you want, but we're heading in a dangerous and obvious direction. So let's read more. But before we do, become a member at timcast.com. We need your support. This is a rough economy, so I understand for many of you who can't do it, but the same is true for us. So if you're able and you want to support us, we could use your help as well. We want to expand. We want to build more. If we don't get your membership, then I will fully state we don't deserve to do more and we don't deserve to grow. But we're doing our best. We've just rolled out the new Discord server. So when you sign up at timcast.com, clicking that Join Us button, you can click Discord in the menu bar and get access to a server where you can hang out, share ideas. There are rules. We don't want hate speech or anything like that. We want to be academic. We don't want to get banned. We want to create a place where you can share ideas and be a member of the community so that we can talk about what's going on. We'll see how long it lasts, to be honest, but we have rules, and I think that we should be okay. So become a member and support our work. Let's read more. The New York Police Department said in a statement it had an increased uniformed presence throughout the city and stressed that there are currently no credible threats to New York, but that it remained ready to respond to protests and counter-protests. Law enforcement is on alert as a state grand jury is in a separate criminal investigation examines hush money payments Trump allegedly made. Most of you know this. Most of you probably already aware. New York State Supreme Court Justice Arthur Engoron, who is presiding over the James litigation, dryly noted, as if this case wasn't interesting enough. Interesting enough is an understatement, an absolute understatement. It's insane. The $250 million lawsuit is a key component in the witch hunt and the insane, psychotic attacks against a former president and current frontrunner. So civil war, man. Yeah, I know. And people are like, Tim Pool says it a whole lot. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm crazy. Fine. If I am, I deserve to be. Right? Reading all this crackpot nonsense and believing this craziness. Okay, someone just called in a bomb threat to the New York Supreme. Is it a lower court? A lower Manhattan? No. I think this is the New York Supreme Court, right? That's where the New York Supreme Court is, isn't it? Or maybe that's in, no, that might be up in where, Albany, maybe. This is, which court is this? I don't know. Lower Manhattan Court. Someone called it a bomb threat. I was here at Timcast, swatted 15 times last year. So, yeah, I certainly think we're heading in a direction where it's going to get crazier and it's going to get dark. So maybe all of the violence hasn't persuaded you into believing what's happening. Maybe the weaponization of government hasn't persuaded you. Maybe the guy who tried to kill Brett Kavanaugh didn't persuade you. Maybe the guy who tried to kill Rep. Scalise and many other members of Congress didn't convince you. Maybe January 6th, be it the violent insurrection the left thinks it is, or the weaponization of federal government, whatever circumstance, maybe that hasn't convinced you. Maybe it was May 29th, the firebombing of St. John's Church and a guard post and the tearing down of the barricades of the White House. Maybe that didn't convince you. Or perhaps the president being ushered into a bunker. Maybe that didn't convince you. I mean, I don't even know how many times I can keep saying something. Maybe it was Aaron Danielson being shot twice in the chest. Maybe that didn't convince you. Maybe this will be the one. The bomb threat in court. No, maybe that didn't convince you either. Maybe it was the fact that the state government is planning to arrest the former president. Maybe it's the fact that Letitia James is suing the former president and his family. They are attacking with everything they have, including violence. And people are like, we're still not in a civil war. No, there's no civil war. You know, when Aaron Danielson got shot twice in the chest in Portland, I believe it was, by a man named Michael Reinl, I think that was his name. People were like, no, violence happens. And I'm just like, 90 days, 90 plus of far left extremists firebombing a federal building. The Chaz, the CHOP, the occupation, the taking over of streets that's currently underway in Atlanta, that happened in Seattle, that happened in Minnesota. None of that convinced you. Are we at that point yet where people are going to finally wake up to the fact that this is just the beginning? What did we just see in Atlanta? 150 far left extremists burning down construction equipment and buildings, destroying a government facility. Many being charged with domestic terrorism. One working for the Southern Poverty Law Center. It is happening right before our eyes. So maybe it doesn't rise to the level that people think it does with standing armies or something like that. I don't know. But that's an American perspective. That's the American Civil War. The military would do this. The military would do that. Not if there's no military. How could there be no military? Civil War. Look at the videos. Look of conflict around the world. The more recent ones, the Arab Spring. Is it two marching? Was it Syria, the Free Syrian Army and the Bashar government marching through the streets at each other and then shooting? No. It was like a dude walking down rubble destroyed streets carrying groceries, and then one other guy just shooting and killing him. One guy. It's photos and videos of regular citizens who picked up guns and started fighting. We've been seeing that already. Now, there's still a degree of stability in the government, but come on. The indictment of the former president? I'm seeing all these people be like, Trump should be indicted and arrested. And I'm like, sure, I guess. But then you got to give what? Obama the death penalty? Obama killed a 16. Let me ask you a question. If a guy walked up to a 16-year-old kid, strapped a bomb to him, and blew him up, would that person get the death penalty? Yeah, they would. I'm against the death penalty for the most part. But I want you to imagine an adult man strapping a bomb to a child and then waiting for him to go into a restaurant and then blowing him up. And the restaurant, yeah, he'd get the death penalty for that. That's what Obama did. That's what Barack Obama did. And he's not been arrested or charged. Abdulrahman al-Awlaki, look it up. Drone strike on a civilian cafe in a country, Yemen, we were not at war with, killing a 16-year-old American citizen. And the administration said, well, we were trying to get someone else. It was a mistake. Okay, so if an adult man goes up to a kid, puts a bomb on him and blows him up, and then later says, I was going after a wanted criminal. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're still going to get locked up. Granted, there's a difference between vigilantism and wanton murder, I suppose. But imagine a police officer went rogue and was like, I'm going to stop these criminals, and then threw a bomb at a kid, killing him, and then was like, I thought that kid was that murderer. They're going to be like, yeah, it doesn't fly, bro. Why are you going around bombing children? Oh, that's a legitimate question for Barack Obama. So, yeah, it's scary stuff, man. A bomb threat called in. Maybe it's nothing. But I look at all of this like grains of sand. And the question is, how many grains of sand until you have a heap? It's the old analogy I used too much, probably. Or I don't think it's an analogy. But the idea is quite simple, man. Each and every one of these instances of violence and vandalism that's happened, or the, is there audio coming through? Violence, vandalism, or conflict, it's all been a grain of sand. And on their own, people are like, a guy got shot. That's no big deal. But how many grains, how many instances until you're looking at it and you go, that's a heap of civil war? Because I feel like that's where we are at currently. They want to arrest Donald Trump. Fine. Go arrest Obama because he committed way worse crimes. In the meantime, let's hope everybody stays safe and nothing gets crazy. All right, the next segments will be at 6 p.m. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.